Okay, hello everyone, welcome back. We took a small commercial break with no commercials, and now we are going to continue with our discussion of the princess tradition, the Disney princess tradition. So normally we think about Snow White, Cinderella, and Sleeping Beauty as first generation, and they belong to before the 1960s. And so now, this is 1989. Okay, this is after I was born. Okay? That's a good joke, right? It's after I was born. So I am older than The Little Mermaid, just by a little. Now, Ariel's I Want song is very different. Ariel wants something else. She doesn't just want a romance, right? She wants a romance, but what she wants is to be outside of the sea. So she is a princess that belongs to belongs to this kingdom under the sea, and that's her father, King Triton. The film, The Little Mermaid, is not really that much about the romance. It is about a young girl growing up. It's very clear that it is about Ariel finding something new about herself and her relationship to her home and her father. So Ariel's famous song is called Part of Your World, or Part of That World, right? So she has this really upreaching song. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I know something's starting right now. Out of the sea, wish I could be part of that world, right? I love that song. And it's a beautiful self-declaration. I want something. And importantly, of course, this is Eric, right? He has a name now, finally. He's not charming. Eric, he has to, of course, defeat Ursula. But the film, at its heart, is about the father and the daughter. So Ariel's last words in the film are not, I love you, Eric. Right? These are not her last words. In the moment when she is celebrating this marriage, and she's human, her last words are, I love you, Daddy. And the relationship that starts from conflict is ultimately about a father and a daughter, and how they grow to understand and respect each other. Right? We know that she's 16, so I think we can relate to this, right? 1989, already there is a new idea of what it means to be a woman. And this is, of course, after important civil rights movements, right? I want to mention one work, very important work, Simone de Beauvoir, The Second Sex. Very important work in feminist literature. Important work for all of us, I think, to know and to understand. Now, there are famous songs in this film, not just part of that world, but also songs like Under the Sea, and also a song called Kiss the Girl. So there's still a romance here, this Caribbean fast-talking sidekick, right, Sebastian. Okay, and then we get to this film, our topic for the day, Beauty and the Beast. And so in many ways, we have to remember this. Beauty and the Beast builds on the success of The Little Mermaid. And it's a retelling also of this fairy tale. And so it also has these fast-talking sidekicks, right? The characters Lumiere, Plumet, Cogsworth, Mrs. Potts, and Chip, right? We'll talk in detail about the wonderful things in this film. This is my favorite Disney princess, because it's the story of my romance. I tell my fiance that this is our story, right? Beauty and the Beast, wonderful, yeah. Completely about my life, so I love this film. But it builds on the storytelling features of Little Mermaid. And so there's a song called Be Our Guest, which is sort of like a parallel to Under the Sea. And we can talk about some of those details later. But just so you know, 1991, okay, a little over 25 years ago, this is how old Beauty and the Beast is. But she is already the 5th princess in the tradition. There is a long tradition before her, there's a long tradition afterwards. So lots of young men and women my generation love this film, Aladdin. This is the beginning of not exactly a fairy tale. Aladdin is more exotic, and we have this character here, played by Robin Williams, who is not in any way part of this original culture. He talks like an American, right? And he acts like American in many ways. He's Robin Williams, right? A perfect role for him. And Princess Jasmine in the film gets to choose some things, right? She is a princess who ultimately decides to marry a street rat. Another statement about what women should be able to do. Women should be able to decide who they want to marry, and this is stated in the film by the Sultan. Of course, the famous song in Aladdin is A Whole New World, which I will not sing for fear of ruining the song. But this is the first time that the princess is not central to the film. She is a very important supporting character, but the film is not called Jasmine, right? It's called Aladdin. And therefore, we can see something, the beginnings of a little trouble. We see Disney expanding out to different cultures to try to appeal to girls of different backgrounds, but ultimately trying to bring them into a more Western view of what a girl should be like. And so in many ways, these films, they get bleached by very conventional, contemporary Western values. And we'll see this as we go on. So Pocahontas is obviously very romanticized. Pocahontas, she has famous songs like Just Around the River Bend, and of course the famous Colors of the Wind, which I will also not sing, which I also love, right? Okay. Can you sing with all the voices of the mountain? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? And Pocahontas does great things. She prevents a war between colonizers and the Native Americans. This is not true, right? This is not historical in any way. But somehow we get filtered this idea, this romanticizing of Native Americans because of Disney. And she's considered as a tribal princess, right? There are some problems here. That's what I want to say. There are some major issues we need to think about how a more a more unconventional way of doing this, a retelling of the story in white approved terms. I'm trying to think of a better way to put this. And this continues even to this film. A lot of people love Mulan. A lot of Asian American literature scholars do not. Because we've all, students, and we've all studied Mulan Shi, right? Is it exactly the same? Is there a Mushu? No, right? Mushu is portrayed as a stereotypical black man, right? Played by Eddie Murphy, wonderful comedian and actor. But he gets to be black and a sidekick next to this Western heroine, right? Mulan is not portrayed as being conventionally Chinese, ethnically Chinese. She's Western, right? Is it possible that she could really save the emperor, like by pulling him, right? And the emperor would bow to her? That's not possible. But it sort of romanticizes, I think, Chinese culture. And in some ways, it creates a problem. When other people try to understand our culture, there are some problems here. But I also love the film. There's a wonderful song called Reflection, sung by Lea Salonga, who also voices Princess Jasmine. It's a beautiful film in many ways. But there are problems that we should be aware of, cultural problems. This is a film that I just taught yesterday. This is Enchanted. She is not an official princess, and why not? Because to be a Disney princess, you need to fulfill 3 important regulations fit 3 criteria. First, you need to be human, or at least half human. Okay, Ariel is half human, right? You have to at least be human. Okay, so Giselle, she passes. Second, you have to be animation. Okay, Giselle is only a little bit of the film happens in animation, so she doesn't really count. She's not considered part of the official canon. And third of all, I think princesses, they need to either marry into or be born into royalty. And actually, Giselle is neither of these. Actually, she is just a fair maiden who believes in fairy tales. Actually, she wants to marry a prince. She is not. Ultimately, she does not marry into royalty. So she is not technically a Disney princess. But let's look at the time. This is 2007, right? 2007, and almost the time of the Obama administration, in terms of this is post 9/11 in American history. And the film is a satirical work. It is a parody of the first generation. And if you watch it, you will know why. If you are familiar with the conventions, you will know why. And so this is Disney satirizing itself. This is Disney sort of thinking about the problems with the tradition and making fun of themselves. So it's a very nice film to watch, Enchanted. In 2009, this film, which not a lot of people know actually, The Princess and the Frog, it features the first African-American princess, Princess Tiana. Her famous song is Almost There. Right? Her mother wants her to go out dancing. It's portrayed in the American South, New Orleans. And so Princess Tiana, well, she's not a princess, of course, she's Tiana. She says, I ain't got time for dancing. Right? That's just going to have to wait a while. She wants to open her own business. And of course, this tells us that women have different kinds of agency. But ultimately, her plans fall apart and things happen. A few problems with the film this is the time after Pixar is already doing very well. DreamWorks is also already doing very well. So this 2D animation, this more conventional way, is a little bit less satisfying for some people, and so it didn't do so well. Also because Tiana is African American, and so there are probably some problems here. So this is a shift. This is the next shift that we have toward the end. A lot of people love Tangled, and what does this princess Rapunzel? What does she sing? What is her goal? She has this way of talking very fast. These fast-talking princesses. Rapunzel is a good example. So she speaks in a way that is very 21st century. She doesn't talk like a princess. She says things like, and I'm just wondering and wondering and wondering and wondering, when will my life begin? And this is literally what she sings, right? And then I'm wondering and wondering and wondering, I'm wondering, when will my life begin? Right, I can't resist, sorry guys. And her goal is to see the skylights, right? And to find who she really is, because she was kidnapped. And that's something very sinister. I think that's something very evil in the film. And so this is a retelling, a return to conventional storytelling, starting from Princess and the Frog. And it's a successful recreation, I think. And we're getting into our decade, right? We're 2017. On the way, there's this Pixar film, Brave, with a Scottish princess, Merida. And this film portrays the mother-daughter relationship. And Merida doesn't technically sing, but she has the theme song of wanting to be out in nature, to spread her wings and fly. And the film is about, it's okay to be a tomboy. It's okay if you don't want to be a princess and marry and you want to be out in the wild, that's fine. Even if you get restricted ultimately by your mother, which is an important relationship that hasn't fully been explored, I believe. But it's a wonderful film, beautifully animated, highly recommended. And of course we get to the famous Frozen. this sister princesses, right? Two princesses together. Now, what does Anna say in the film? What does Anna? What is her song? She starts with famous, "Do you want to build a snowman?" Right? And then her song is "For the First Time in Forever," and she says things like, "I want to stuff some chocolate in my face." Right? Would Snow White say that? Can you imagine Snow White like? I want to stuff some, or what is Elsa's famous line? "Let it go," right? Can Snow White do that? "My stepmother wants to kill me and poison me. Let it go," right? Is that okay? Probably not, right? That's, there's a major shift now in almost 80 years, right? There's a major shift in what a princess can do, and of course, Frozen is a reinterpretation of true love, and it talks about that in some ways that I think is truly trying to reform. So we're almost done. There are a few important remakes which are part of the tradition, but not really. They're sort of retellings, and the Beauty and the Beast live action is about that. Maleficent retells the story of Sleeping Beauty. We can't talk too much. It's a nice film. But I want to mention that the scene where Maleficent, she gets her wings cut off. Okay, this is an act of violence upon the female body that doesn't happen in other Disney princess films. Right? There is an assault on the female body, and that's a big problem. And when I say big problem, I mean this is a societal problem that we should all think about. It's not a problem with the film. I think it's a good aspect of the film, but it's something we should all think about how we value and think about female power and her rights to her body, things like this. Okay. 2015, live action Cinderella. A lot of people criticize the film because it doesn't do much to expand the original story. And just a little bit of trivia. Who plays beautiful Cinderella? This is an actress from Downton Abbey, right? Her name is Lily James. And why is she called Lily James? Apparently, she wanted to choose a name that would embody the names of both of Harry Potter's parents. Okay, Harry Potter fans will know what I'm talking about. So Lily James. And her portrayal of Cinderella tells us that we are in a new generation of filmmaking. That we can capture different kinds of magic, and we can blend CG animation with live action. So 2015, Cinderella. And this year, Moana. Actually, it was last year, end of last year for the United States, Moana. And Moana, what she wants is to be out into the sea, and she has a mission. I won't spoil the film for you, but this is another gesture in incorporating a new ethnic group, first of all, and also a new direction in what a princess should do, how a princess should act. And Moana, okay, I won't give away anything. All right, I hope you watch the film. It's a wonderful film, poetic, very, very poignant film to watch. So I'll leave it at this. This is a new tradition, a new film that is a continuation of what we've talked about in the tradition. And then we get to the film that is playing right now, if you're watching. Right now in theaters, this film, Beauty and the Beast. And we will talk about the details of Beauty and the Beast. We cannot play the film. Normally, when we teach film class, we can play the film. We have the film legally to watch in our library, so please come to watch it after it has been coded. It's the newly purchased film. So I will talk about it. I will show some film stills. I'll sing a little bit, so we can all enjoy ourselves. And we'll talk about Beauty and the Beast in firm detail, I hope, to have a grasp. And I've watched the live action remake day before yesterday. when it came out. I was too excited because I need to teach the film. And so I will tell you a little bit, without giving anything away, I will tell you a little bit about something to look out for, some details that if you look at it and you have a little knowledge, you will know exactly what is going on. But if not, it's okay, you can still enjoy the film. But I hope to share with you some details that I found in the new live-action remake. Okay? So let's take another minute break, maybe a couple minutes, less than 5, and then we will continue. We'll enter into the world of Beauty and the Beast. Thank you all very much.